What's up, guys? My name is Nier, and we are going to get back into Nier Gestalt. This should be part 11. We just finished up with the Forest of Myth, and in this video I think we've gotten all the normal sealed verses before we continue on to the second half of the game. We haven't met Emil yet. I'm going to try to focus on a couple side stories here. This is going to be a little more narration, so bear with me. If you guys want to skip it, go ahead and skip through it. Maybe just skip to the next video, because I don't plan on hitting anything really major, like any of the main quest stuff. I kind of want to get a lot of the side quests out of the way so I can get some better weapons, more materials for the later part of the game. So this is going to be a little bit of a grind. I just didn't want to have any part of the story not recorded for those who are wanting to have a little more of a completionist look to this rather than just getting through the story. So we're just going to continue where we left off and hurry up and get through a few of these things. So I'll go ahead and fast forward to the first one. So catch you in a sec. Alright, looks like we got two of them here, so let's go ahead and hit this one. This man appears to be another infected by the death dream. It would appear that way, yes. Into the villager's dream. Gods, please don't tell me we have to go back in there. I'm no good at this mind game crap. I'd rather hit something in the face and be done with it. Perhaps you should spend... Bleh. Fuck. Perhaps you should spend less time complaining and more time getting on with the mission. Yeah. Hopefully my dyslexia doesn't hit hard, so... Give me a minute, guys. I breathe air scented with death and resist the urge to laugh. For I know it all sounds like the words of a madman. How long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison, is tucked away under a stairway in the long unused catacombs of some infinite castle. Outside I hear the sound of a funeral dirge that seems without end. And yeah, I know, reading back on that, there was words that were added, and I have no clue where I got those words. Terrible. Light has no place here. Wind is forgotten friend. Wind is a forgotten friend. I pray for death to come, but he forsakes me. Time passes, and eternity slips by in the single tick of a clock. Someone knocks on my prison. Hey, anyone there? I hear an unfamiliar voice say. My savior? I claw at the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters under my ragged nails. I scream for help, I laugh, I sob. Surely this is a product of my addled mind. Surely it cannot be true. Help me, I cry. For the love of all the gods, please help me. And possibly I hear the sound of a lock being torn out and falling onto the floor. As the door slowly creaks open, I have just enough time to see a silver-haired man and a floating book before the light pours inside. My eyes, accustomed to blackness, explode with pain, and I am forced to turn away. Who are you? I ask, shaking hands covering my face. How have you come to this place? I am Grimoire Weiss. This is Nier. Long have we been searching for you. Now come, stand. We shall awaken from this nightmare together. The one known as Nier extends his massive hand and pulls me from the cell. Though my eyes are slow to adjust to freedom, my ears are keen as ever, and they recognize the statico sounds of heavy rain. Interesting. I never thought to hear the rain again, I whisper. Would that this were not such a terrible storm, said Grimoire Weiss. Look at your feet. I force my eyes to open and see water pooling around my feet and lapping at my shins. There's so much of it. Yes, and more comes each moment we delay. If we do not make good our escape, we shall all drown in this castle. We know that we are weak but you are our only hope to survive this place. Time, that long-forgotten friend, made itself known again. I nodded my head and swore to save my rescuers, no matter the cost. Castle catacombs are a maze, twisting upon themselves like the endless entrails of a giant. Squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. At the end of the corridor, I find a row of 20 gorgeous canopied beds resting atop a carpet of velvet. All are covered with a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Searching for the door to the next room, I come upon a shapeless mass of gray matter. It has been shoved against the side of the wall, and despite my fever, I think I see the outlines of a door just beyond it. When I reach out a finger and touch a piece of this mass, it turns into dust and drifts away on the wind. Realization slowly dawns, and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpses. I face a mountain of charred and crumbling corpses. I look from it to the beds and back again until the horror dawns full upon me. Someone has piled these bodies into a tower and set them ablaze. Whether they were alive or dead, I do not know. Insanity will not permit me to consider the proposition further. I make a sound, whether scream or laughter, I cannot be certain. Then my mind grants me merciful blackness, and I find myself opening the door and leaving that most terrible of rooms. Squint down the dim corridor. South would be back the way I came because I've been heading north, so let's go east. Squint down the corridor. Let's go north again. Squint down the dim corridor. West. At the end of the path, a row of heavy wooden casks lie on both sides in a dark chamber. Doubtless, they are filled with wine. My thirst roars to life. I cannot remember the last time my parched throat had relief. I scramble to the first cask and pull frantically on the cork. The theft of a few cups means nothing, I tell myself. The casks will be ruined by the flood regardless. Finally, the cork surrenders to my attack, and a thick red liquid bursts forth from the hole. If it's thick, that ain't wine, that's blood. This is no wine, it is blood, still warm from the body, whether animal or something else, I cannot say. The foul liquid soon mixes with the rising floodwaters, creating a warmth that laps against my thighs. By all the gods, are the rest of these casks filled with blood as well? I lack the courage to confirm my suspicion. Disgust quickly becomes fear as I turn to flee, but my weakened legs betray me, sending me toppling over into the red ocean below. The smell of death is everywhere. It threatens to consume me. I must escape this hell. Crawling on all fours like an animal, holding back screams, lest any foulness enter my mouth, I lurch forward through the red waters and out of the room to freedom. Squint down the corridor. So that wasn't right. Proceed east again. At the end of the path, I find myself in a great hall with only the sounds of rain for comfort. The waterlogged red carpet squishes beneath my feet as I approach the center of the room. Once there, I behold a beautiful dining table upon which rests china and silver of the finest construction, as well as the remains of a fantastic feast. As my eyes continue to adjust, I see many chairs surrounding the table, each holding a dinner guest. Noticing movement, I approach the chair at the table's head. But as the truth of the matter dawns on me, I recoil in horror. Host of the feast is a corpse, as are all the invited guests. An army of foul, wriggling insects have made homes in their remains, and this is the movement that I saw. This once splendid feast was now nothing more than a requiem for the damned. I take a moment to steady my shaking hands and slowly back away from the table. Desperate to lose sight of the abomination before me, my gaze lands on the chairs upon which the dead were seated. This is a mistake, for the chairs prove to be even more horrible than the feast itself. Each one is covered in a layer of spikes that run from the seat up the back and down the arms. This explains the color of the carpet beneath my feet. I can only pray that the unfortunate diners were dead when the meal began. Or if not, it is a simple task to envision an agonized screams that must have sprung forth from their mouths. My mind grasps frantically to the possibility that these souls have committed some terrible crime for which this was punishment. Though in truth, I suspect they had committed no crime at all. There will be no tomorrow for these unfortunates. This was their last supper. Squint down the corridor. I can head north now. Against all hope, we make it to the front door. Oh my god. Break it down, someone cries. And so I give myself to the effort. In tandem with Nier and Grimoire Weiss, I slam my body against the thick, sturdy door. On the third try, it gives way, and we find ourselves sprawled in front of the castle. The storm is in retreat, the clouds above are still dark and foreboding, but to the west I can see a thin shimmering of sunlight trying to break through. How can I thank you, I cry as tears join the rain on my cheeks. I would surely have died in there. Looking down, I suddenly notice that my dress is in tatters, and sheepishly I try to cover my exposed skin. Your dress? Asked Weiss. Then you are a woman, madam. Yes, I am. I proffer the two a smile. I suppose that comes as something of a surprise, seeing as how I exist only in form of words. I can see that the one known as Nier is disappointed that the torn dress will be given no further description, but he hides it well. With a nod and a shrug, the three of us set forth to our awakening. But behind us, an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the abandoned castle, providing the countless damned souls inside with their final shroud. After a moment, the castle's windows shatter with a mighty roar. A fresh breeze blows through the hallways and corridors, clearing the smoke away for good. As we watch in awe, uncountable black shadows slowly flicker to life, crossing to and fro in front of the broken windows. The castle's dead have awakened to their new life as shades. You have anything to say about that? Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time. I hear you. Alright. One more. God, it's already been 15 minutes? Holy shit. And another victim. This work certainly is trying. I'm surprised, Weiss. Your book and this word stuff should be right up your alley. Yes, quite. Well, enough chatter. Let's be off. 1 second. A colony of massive sculptures was visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. Weiss and Nier had never seen such a sight, and their eyes widened as they tried to take it in. Hey Weiss, we could keep walking, but those things don't get any closer. I don't get it. Are they really that big? As Weiss considered his answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity. Perhaps they are some manner of mirage, he said. Under this heat, a mirage or two would hardly be an unexpected sight. Nirok nodded and wiped the sweat off his brow, leaving a trail of sand in its place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty, but we're in the desert? The ancient road on which they walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there, thin wisps of grass pushed up through the rocky surface as if defying those who had laid this material down over their home. The heat reflecting from the road made Nirok lightheaded. Suddenly, he dropped to his knees and slammed his hand against the black surface. "God damn it," he said. "Is this some kind of joke? Well, I'm not laughing." The complaining had already begun. Weiss tried not to let his eyes roll too much. "A joke," he said. No joke. This road leads to the City of Art." Perhaps the path itself is simply a manner of a grand artistic work. "Oh, come on. That's bullshit and you know it." "Possibly, but thinking of it this way might make it easier for you to bear." Nirok glanced at Weiss' grinning face, cursed silently to himself, and resumed walking. As time passed, Nirok's feet grew more painful, and his throat drier than he thought possible. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead, because the bright sunlight made him hesitate to trust his own senses. "We are definitely getting closer," Weiss said, in an effort to cheer his companion. "Yes, this much is certain." Encouraged, Nirok lifted his gaze. Suddenly he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road with his mouth and eyes wide open and his finger pointing in the distance. "Water," he cried. "It's water." "Water?" he asked Weiss. "Preposterous. I don't see any water." "It's right there, idiot. Can't you see it? Look, the sun is reflecting off of it." Without waiting for a response, Nirok sprang to life and bounded towards the site. What in the... There was no water. There was nothing but sand in every direction. Nirok closed his eyes and sighed as Weiss floated up behind him, chuckling softly. "I believe this is known as a mirage," he said. "Many a desert traveler has spoken of such things." Nirok shook his head, bewildered. Suddenly he pointed off in the distance, his eyes wide once more. "Wait, there it is. I just missed it. Look, it's right there." Nirok sprinted off again, leaving Weiss with no choice but to follow. After a few minutes of running, Nirok came to a halt. I could have sworn it was right around here. Confused, he put his hands up to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour until an exasperated Weiss finally floated up to Nirok and struck him in the face with his cover. "You damn blithering idiot! Stop this at once!" "There is no water here." Nirok's face clouded. There isn't? "There is not. And perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as much." Weiss paused for a moment, then continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. "However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived at the City of Art." Nirok looked up. Stretched out before him was a row of impossibly tall sculptures. Their journey was at an end. "They're huge," cried Nirok, completely forgetting the heat and pain of the past few hours. I've never seen anything so big." Each sculpture was formed from roughly the same shape. A tall rectangle that stretched up towards the sky, but that's where the similarities ended. Most were covered with panes of glass that reflected the light in 1,000 directions, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall spires on their top, while others possessed triangular caps. "What kind of city is this?" Nirok said. "Where are the people? Where are the houses?" Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for autistic use. The debate continued as they made their way through the city. So this is actually like a modern city, our time city, I should say, because technically this game is like nearly 500 years into the future. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on steel rails. Beautiful carved works with lights of red, amber, and green dangled over every street. As they moved away from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of smaller ones. Some were covered in glass or brick. Many of them were composed of materials they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colors and styles were staggering. Unable to find a theme or purpose to the abstract works around them, Nierok and Weiss eventually fell silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans. Nierok uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. Finally, I was getting tired of modern art. The 3 statues were indistinguishable except for a single word chiseled into their right arms. One read Alpha, one read Beta, and the final one read Gamma. As Nierok moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew from the top of one of the sculptures. Alighting on the statue's shoulder, it emitted a brief, beautiful song that took the form of words. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies. With that, the bird departed, as if on cue. The 3 statues shuddered to life, acquiring color and form as they began to breathe. "Hey, look at that," Nierok said. "They're alive." The triplets bowed low before Nierok. "Please," said Alpha, You have to get me out of this nightmare. I am real." "Stop lying," said Beta. He turned to Nierok and threw his hands into the air. "Alpha is a fake. You know I'm the real one." "What a load of crap," said Gamma. "Beta is a fake. Everyone knows that I'm the real one around here." Their respective pleas given, the 3 statues returned to their frozen state as silence once again enveloped the city. "When you consider all the statements, only one of them could be the real thing," said Weiss. Nierok furrowed his eyebrows and considered his answer. "Only one form is real, the others are fake. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies." I don't have a clue. He took a long look at the statues and tried to clear his mind. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of... okay, so it's just gonna go through that. Okay, so it's just gonna go through that again. One moment, guys. So on my first attempt, I'm gonna pick Alpha because Beta says you know I'm the real one, and I don't, and Gamma says everyone knows I'm the real one. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark. My gut's saying Beta though. Though Nierok's voice betrayed a notable lack of confidence, he was relieved to see Weiss nodding at him. "If Alpha were telling the truth," began Weiss, in the dry tones of lecture, "Beta and Gamma would be fakes. But in that case, Gamma's claim that Beta is fake would be the truth, even though Gamma is a liar. Therefore, that theory crumbles." Let's presume that Gamma spoke the truth. That makes Alpha and Beta the liars. In this situation, however, Beta is calling Alpha a liar, which would leave us with 2 statues telling the truth. Finally, let us assume that Beta is telling the truth. If so, Alpha and Gamma's lies would make sense, therefore Beta must be real. And Weiss finished his explanation. Alpha and Gamma crumbled soundlessly into dust, while Beta sprang to life once more. Congratulations, villager, and Weiss said Weiss in a cheerful voice. The time to awaken has arrived. Thank you for saving me, cried the villager. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head as low as it could go. An uncomfortable Nirok pulled him to his feet. Why did you have a dream like this? Asked Weiss. Have you been in this city before? The villager slowly looked around at the bizarre objects and sculptures that dotted the landscape and shook his head. I don't think so. I mean, it's impossible, right? There's no way I could have ever been to a place like this, but at the same time, I feel like I've seen it before. Deja vu, muttered Nirok. It's just like that damn mare. The vague sense of unease that struck Nirok during the mare's dream spread once more through his mind. Oh, cool. I am positive that I've seen this place before. Stop, I get enough foreboding crap from everyone else in my life. Don't you start that too. Okay. Now all the villagers can wake up, right? Yes, if the mayor's assumption was correct, I think I have had enough wordplay to last a lifetime. Thank you very much. Yeah, I hear ya. Well, let's go see the mayor.
Hello.
Oh, thank you so much. Here, I have something for you. Holy crap, I can really have this? Of course. It's apparently a weapon of some renown, but I have little use for it. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you again for everything. Really? Wow. Kind of... Oh, it's a flame blade. Okay. Wow, it's a really strong weapon. Very light. Cool. So that actually helps towards one of the endings, because I am going to go through all the endings. And don't worry, it's actually going to be a phase 1, which is going to be just the normal game all the way to the end. A phase 2, which is only going to be part 2 of the game all the way to the end. And then phases 3 and 4 is just going to be the repeated end all the way to the, final endings. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Sorry, you guys, if, it was just all text, but it was all, side quests for a weapon that's actually going to help towards the end of the game. So we'll continue with the main story in the next video. So if you guys liked it, hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you want to see more. If you have comments, and I don't care, negative or positive, post them below. Let me know, because I can only do better if you guys tell me what I'm doing wrong. So, catch you guys later.